This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. So in our last class, we just controlled the visibility of these buttons. When we are in the create mode, what buttons should appear, and when we are in the edit mode, what buttons should appear. So this is what we controlled in our last class. So in today's class, we are going to do our first CUD operations, that is create, update, and delete operations. So the first one is create. Right. So when you click on the create button, this form is appearing. The end user will fill the form and click on the save button. So when you click on the save button, the data should get saved in the database. So this is what we are going to do in today's class. All right. So let's go to the view 2 because the view 2 contains our entire screen. This is my empty panel, and we are adding this fragment, edit fragment dynamically to this particular screen. When you click on the save button, you need to save this to the database. So let us assign a function to this save button. Where is the save button? This is the save button. Now I am going to add the press action. So press equal to on press save. Now copy this button and go to the view to controller. This is my view to controller. Now let us write this logic at the maybe at the bottom. So here my function name. All right. Now point to remember is the save and cancel buttons will appear even for create screen and edit screen as well. So when you edit the data at the time also the save button and cancel button will be available. So you need to write the code in such a way when you click on when you click on the save button, you need to check in which mode you are. Are you in the create mode or are you in the edit mode? So basing on that, the logic should be written. The mode is always saved in this variable, this dot mode. So you need to check this dot mode. If the mode is create, then only you need to write the logic of the create. If the mode is edit, then you need to write the logic of update. And this is the reason why we keep this variable, this dot mode. In the first screen, when you click on the create employee button and come to the second screen, we are immediately in the view to controller, we are saving the variable name this dot mode equal to create. Okay. So similarly, when you click on the edit button, at that time you need to save the same variable this dot mode equal to edit. Clear? So the entire CUD operation logic will be written basing on the variable this dot mode. Okay. Now what is create operation? You need to read all the form data and you need to send this to the backend. And in the backend, you need to receive this data and save that into the table. That's all. This is what is create operation. Now let's go to our edit fragment. So this is my employee edit fragment. So you need to read the values by using this dot get view by ID and get value. Okay. So since you already know this statement, this dot get view by ID dot get value. So instead of typing this, I'll just copy and paste it. All right. So this is my view 3. Now let's copy this and let me paste it into the view 2 controller. So this is nothing but simply this dot get view by ID, employee ID dot get value, name dot get value, designation dot get value. So basically we are reading all the data from the screen. Uh, ID, salary, and date of joining. After the date of joining, we also have few more: salary, date of joining, and then we have status and rating. So let's read both of them: status and rating. Okay, so I will tell you what is this. You already know that, but still I will just explain what is that. So variable, uh, what else we have? Status, right? Status equal to this dot get view by ID status dot get value. And then we have one more, that is rating. So again, you need to copy this, put it here. ID rating dot get value. This is rating. Now coming to this date, whenever you are sending the dates from front end to the back end or back end to the front end, so you need to uh, convert that into OData layer acceptable format, guys. You can see when we hit this particular OData service URL, the data is coming from backend to the front end. In this case, the date is coming in a format YY hyphen MM hyphen DD hyphen T double zero colon double zero colon double zero. So you need to convert your date into this format. Otherwise, your data will not go from front end to the back end. So this conversion is needed. When you read the date from the date picker, so let's say I selected some date. When you select the date from the date picker, wait, this is not appearing here. Okay, we'll see that. So whenever you select the date from the date picker, my dear friends, at that time, the date will be in a object format. So you need to convert that object format into this particular OData layer acceptable format YY hyphen MM hyphen DD. So for that, what we are doing, we are going to the formatter. So first we are reading the get date value. So we are reading this date, and after that, formatter dot format date uh, for create and update scenario. So we have written one more formatter function. So let's go to the formatter model formatter.js. So we have this format date for filter. So during the filtering, we formatted the date. So similarly, let us write one more function, and that is my formatter dot format date for create and update. I'm going to write it over here. So just copy the same code, but make sure you keep the pattern YYYYMMDD and T double zero colon double zero colon double zero. Okay. Even you can use this format also, no problem. But to be exact, so I have taken one more and I have written YYYYMM DDT double zero double zero double zero. Okay. Now what this function will take as an input, date of joining as an input, and it returns the date in this particular OData layer acceptable format. And that is what exactly I have done here. Now you also need to load the formatter. Formatter is a shortcut name for the formatter.js library. So let's go to the top. And here you need to load the formatter library. So just like in view 1 you have done. So copy this. In the view 2 also you load it here. Now copy this formatter, put it, and that's all. You have successfully converted the formatter. Right. Now your entire form data is ready in the variables. So your employee ID is ready, name, designation, skill, everything is ready. Now what you need to do is to send this particular data to the backend. The data must be in a JSON format. Always remember the data that goes from front end to the backend or backend to the front end, the data must be in a JSON format. Now, what is JSON format? The JSON format is nothing but a simple object notation like open curly braces, closing curly braces. So whenever you find this symbol, open curly braces and closing curly braces for the data, so this notation is called as a simple object notation, or this is called as JSON, means JavaScript object notation. Okay. A open curly braces and closing curly braces combination, it is called as a object in JavaScript. It is an object in JavaScript. So this is object notation in JavaScript. So that is why this entire syntax is called as JavaScript object notation. So the data transfer between the front end and back end will always happen in this JSON format. Now here the data should be like this. Left hand side OData field colon, right hand side its value. So similarly comma, again left hand side OData field colon, right hand side its value. So like this the data should be there. Okay. Now let's go here and let's create this form. So variable data equals to open curly braces, closing curly braces, and in between, so you need to keep your OData field and value pairs. So employee ID and its value is in this variable. Employee ID, name, designation, designation. So similarly, let's write our status, colon status. So similarly, what else? Rating and colon rating. So now you got this data. Now this particular data, the JSON data, you need to send it to the backend. So how do you send this data to the backend? First of all, you need to trigger the create call to the backend. So let me open this SAP our system. In the OData project, so let's go to our OData project. We have DPC extension class. In this class, we will write the code for our CUD operations, create, update, and delete operations. If you come down, so till now we implemented this employee set underscore get entity, employee set underscore get underscore entity set. Now we are going to implement this employee set underscore create underscore entity. So this is what we are going to implement now. Employee set underscore create underscore entity. But we know that SAP UI5 cannot call this method directly. So how SAP UI5 will call this method employee set underscore create underscore entity? So it is through this piece of code. We'll get the OData model here. So how to get the OData model? Your OData model is present in the manifest.json. So this is your OData model. So manifest.json is a part of the component.js. So you can simply write this dot get owner component dot get model, and within the round brackets don't give any name. So when you say get model and within the round brackets no name, so it goes to the manifest.json and it brings the model which is defined without any name. So which is nothing but our OData model. So you got the OData model. Now on the OData model, there is a function called dot create, and you need to specify the entity set in which you want to create the record, and you need to specify the data for the new employee. So this is the data of the new employee. So this is data, and slash the entity set, in which entity set is nothing but the table in which you want to create the record. Now this particular statement model dot create slash employee set will go and call, so it will go and call employee set underscore create underscore entity in the backend. So remember, if you write model dot create slash employee set, so it will go and call employee set underscore create underscore entity in your backend, and you are supplying the data also here. So once this data is supplied to the backend, now the end user will be waiting whether this creation is successful or failure, right? So in this method, there is a provision, comma, with a open curly brace and closing curly braces. Inside that, SAP has given a success function and a error function. So if everything goes smooth, automatically your success function will be called. If anything happened, then error function will be called. Now inside the success function, there are two responses. There are two objects. One is request and response. The request object contains what you are sending, and the response object contains what your server is sending, whatever the server has sent you as a response. So that this particular response object will contain. Normally, as per the OData protocol, whatever the record that got created, the same record has to be sent as a response to the front end. This is not my standard, your standard. This is OData standard. So what is the OData standard? According to OData standard, whenever a record is created, whatever the record that is created in the database, that created record has to be sent as a response to the front end. Okay. So in this response object, you will find the newly inserted record into the front end inside this success function. And the error function, so this will have a error object, and you can display some message. Even this error object also sometimes contains some technical information about the error, but generally end users cannot understand the technical information, so you can display some generic message as well. Now coming to how to display the messages. The messages are displayed by using message box library. So let me add sap/m/message box. Now copy this and go here. The message box is a very convenient library to show the different type of messages like success messages, error messages, and warning messages. Okay, and confirmation messages as well. So message box dot error, and you can simply give oops, some error occurred, uh, occurred, please contact support team. So generic message I have given. So this is what is message box library. So this library has a error function, and you can directly display the message that you want to display. And similarly, you can also show a success message inside the success. So you need to write message box dot success, and within the round brackets, you need to write New employee created successfully. So as of now, let us keep like this. Now let us test. Yeah. 100003. So by the way, I'm just checking why this date is not appearing here. All other values. Oh my God. Oh. So this problem we are getting when you type the value, it is automatically vanish. So you can see I'm typing some value and the value got vanished. Uh, so I know why this problem is coming. So even if you hit here, this will also gone. This is just because we are using the same screen of edit screen for the create mode. So what's happening here, I will tell you. In this fragment, there are the value bindings, and these bindings, it's a empty binding. When you are doing the unbind element, so this is the unbind element. This dot get view dot bind element we are doing, and we are doing here where we are doing unbind element. Yeah. So here we are doing this dot get view dot unbind element. So when the binding is unbinded, now it is leaving the holes here. You said your value should go and sit, your value should be binded to this field. Now when there is no binding, so this is basically blank. So this is basically blank, and this is the reason this, even you type something, it's vanishing immediately. And even I thought it is only for the date, but no, it is not only for the date, it is for every UI element. So somehow we need to remove these bindings as well, or otherwise we need to create a separate fragment for the create. Mm, I thought this unbind element will save us, but this is this has given a empty form. That is okay, but when I'm typing the value, that is simply vanishing because of this binding only. So value equal to curly braces employee ID, and now the employee ID is empty. There is no employee ID because the data is not binded to this uh, employee ID, right? One second, I think this has by mistake gone. Yeah. So when you do this value equal to employee ID, there is no employee ID, right? And that is what happened because of this dot get view dot bind element. Okay, maybe uh, you know instead of making it too complicated, so let's keep a separate create screen as well. So we need to create one more fragment for this fragment, maybe for edit, and same fragment we need to copy and paste with a input field but no value bindings. Okay, so in that way this issue can be resolved. Okay, I just tried keeping the same view, but we got this particular hole. Yeah, so let's create it because there is no other way, guys. We can't escape from this. Uh, Actually, in my project, it was created for create edit, it was separate fragments only. But in the training, I just tried if this works out. Uh, I did not notice this value binding that much. Okay, so I'm just copying this fragment content into a new fragment. So let's right click, new file. I'm calling this as emp create fragment. So totally we will be having three fragments now. One is create fragment, second one edit fragment, third one display fragment. Dot fragment dot xml. Now the content of the create fragment will also be same, but no value bindings. So let's remove all the value bindings. Otherwise we will get into this whole empty. So even after entering the values, they are becoming blanks. So that's a huge issue actually. So this is should be avoided. This all right. Now I will load this particular fragment instead of the edit fragment. So let's have clean create fragment separate, display fragment separate, and edit fragment separate. So this should be the case. As I told in my project, I created three fragments, but in the training, I got this idea like, why can't I do this with the two fragments? But that has given a reverse result to me. Yeah. So since we are doing this separate fragment, you no need to unbind the element. So not required because we are going to a fresh fragment now. So I deleted that statement. So this is a create and this is a display mode. Now coming to here, when you are loading the fragment, so here also we need to change with one more if and else if. So else if the mode is edit, sorry, not edit, create. If the mode is create, uh, I'm removing this if condition, not required because we have separated this one as well. So here you are loading employee edit fragment. So let's load emp create fragment here, and let's call this fragment also as create fragment. So this is a create fragment, and create fragment. So just a copy and paste with one more else if condition for a clean separation of the fragments. That's all. So now this will not happen. Let us see. So let's go back, refresh our screen. Now if I click on create employee, so let me type some values, 100003. Now the data is not vanished. The reason is the value bindings are not there. For the create screen, value bindings should not be there. Otherwise, it leaves holes in our uh, coding. Okay. All right. So that problem is simply solved. And now when you click on the save button, we also return the logic. Now let us see whether it triggers. So let us see if it triggers the method employee set underscore create underscore entity. So this method it should trigger, but let us see. Okay. If we get any problems, so we will keep our console ready, and let us keep a debug point inside our employee save, and let us keep one debug point inside the success and one debug point inside the error function. All right. So I'm filling 100003, which is our third employee. So till now we have only two employees, Venki and Rahul. Now I'm going to create the remaining employees as well. So let me create Mahesh. So employee name Mahesh. So designation. So let me write team lead. skill, ABAP, email. So we have the email list. So Mahesh, what is your email? Is this one? Is this yours, Mahesh?
No, fourth one.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay. And phone number. So you want to give phone number or shall I keep something?
Yeah, something you can put.
Okay. So salary, let me write some 20 lakhs or 17 lakhs. The date of joining. So I'm giving something status, permanent, rating. Okay. Now let's click on the save and see what is happening step by step. I clicked on save and let's continue step by step. Employee ID we got, name we got, team lead. So date is in the OData layer acceptable format, YYYY hyphen MM hyphen DD. Okay. So status we got, and rating, yes, rating also we got. And now let us see. Uh, so we are sending this data. So data, everything is filled. Yeah. Now the last is model.create statement. Now either it should go into success or error. Obviously it should go into the error because we have not written any logic, or first of all we have not implemented this method. So it should go into the error. Now let's continue. Let's wait. Yeah. So now you can see this has gone into the error function. Let us copy this O error and display it here to see what went wrong. You can find this, this is called the response from the server for the error. Okay. Now you can copy that object and display here to check what went wrong. It is saying HTTP request failed. The status text you can see not implemented. Not implemented means the corresponding backend method, whatever that has to get executed. So which is employee set underscore create underscore entity. So this method is not implemented. So that is what it is saying. And if you see there is a response text here, and even this response text will clearly tell you the message. So this is the message. Method employee set underscore create underscore entity not implemented in the data provider class. Okay, so this is the exact technical error. Okay, so here, in case if any client asks you, boss, I need this technical error to be displayed. Okay, instead of some generic message saying that, oops. So what is the message that we displayed? The message that we displayed is view to controller. Where is that? Yeah. So we displayed, oops, some error occurred. Please contact support team. But instead of this, if the client said, I want this message, that is method employee set underscore create underscore entity not implemented in the data provider class, then you need to little tricky logic you need to write here. Okay. So all of you observe how I will pull out this message from this O error object. So from this O error, which is a standard response object for the error, you just need to paste it in the console and check where is this particular message. So this message is present inside response text, correct? So first let us reach till response text. So this is my O error, which is a standard object dot response text. Now when I hit O error dot response text, so this is what I'm getting from here to here. In this, your message is exact message that has to be displayed is here. The exact message that has to be displayed is here. Against a value property, you can see value equal to this one. This is a message, language equal to English, value equal to method employee set underscore create underscore entity, not implemented in the data provider class. But how can I reach over there? Because this entire thing is a string. This entire thing it is coming as a string. Now the next question that you may ask is, Rizwan, how do you know that this is a string? You can clearly see there is a single quotes open and there is a single quote closing single quote, and in between this entire story is coming. So anything that presents between a single quote open and single quote closed, that is nothing but a string. Yes or no? Anything that is present within the single quotes or even in the double quotes, that is a string. So in this entire string, how can I cut only this part? Only this part, how can I cut? Some developers follow some string handling functions to cut this, but there is a little better approach than that, and that is, if you observe, even though that is coming within the single quotes open and single quotes closed, but let's say the single quotes are not there. Okay, if you see inside, it is a curly braces open and curly braces closed. So according to the JavaScript, anything that is having within the curly brace open, curly brace close, it's a JSON format. So reading the data from the JSON format is more easy than the string. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is, even though this is coming within the single quotes, which is of type string, but if this single quotes are not there, let's assume if these single quotes are not there, this is a JSON object. It's a JSON object. You can clearly see property value page. See, this is a property, this is a value, right? Again, this is a property, this is a value. So this entire thing is a property value page. That means it's actually a JSON object, but when it is coming to the front end, it is coming in a string format. Now, in whenever a Java JSON format is coming to the front end within the single quotes, you can remove these single quotes to make it like a JSON object by using a function and standard function, that is JSON dot parts. JSON dot there is a function called parts. JSON dot parts is a standard statement. Now within the round brackets, you can pass this one, which is a string quotated JSON format. Now all of you observe what I did. OError dot response text, so which is the string, which is a string. Inside the string we have this JSON format. Now when you keep this OError dot response text inside the JSON.parse statement, this JSON.parse statement will remove the single quotes. 1 second, guys. It will remove the single quotes. So once it removes the single quotes, what it becomes? It becomes a JSON object. See, so here I have single quotes. When the single quotes are there, it is a string. But the moment I remove the single quotes, it becomes JSON object. So let's say this JSON object name is some EMP. Now I want name. So how can I access my EMP dot name? So whenever the data is present in a JSON object, it is very easy to navigate to the inner properties. So that is the reason we converted this response that is coming from the server into a JSON object notation by using the standard statement JSON.parse, and you supplied this one into the round brackets so that what it does, it simply remove the single quotes. When the single quotes are removed, what is the inside content? It is already a JSON object. So since it's a JSON object, it shows in a hierarchical fashion. So now I can easily navigate to till this particular value. So what I need to display to the end user, I need to display this message to the end user according to the client. So now you just need to put dots and navigate inside. All of you observe. So this is the value of this hierarchy. So I kept it dot first level is error, right? So put dot error. Yeah. Now inside the dot, I need to go to this message dot message. Now again inside the message, I need to pick up this value. So inside message value. Okay. Now see, are you getting the exact message that the client want to display? Yes. So simply copy this statement json.parts something dot error dot message dot value, and now I will just put this in the instead of oops some error occurred, instead of this I will keep this. It's over. Now the fact here is any technical error that is coming from the backend will always present in this path only. json.paths error.response text dot error dot message dot value. And this is the reason blindly developers will copy and paste this statement, but they really don't know how this statement is coming. Means what is the hierarchy, from where we got this message. So nobody knows, because everybody knows that okay, any backend error that comes in this path, so let's copy and paste. That's all. Okay, when you copy and paste this statement, they get the technical error. That's all. If they want normal message, they display it by hard coding. If they want backend message, they keep this statement. But this is the original story of picking up the this particular message that is coming from the backend. This is okay. Actually, I can simply say that if you want to display the backend technical error, simply keep this statement without explaining what is this statement. Okay, but I want you to understand how this has to be uh, retrieved from this error object. So if you know this, so in real time when you know these kind of things happen, then you can also put it in the console. You can just check the hierarchy. Then you can also retrieve anything. Okay, any these kind of messages. Okay, so that's the intention. All right. So now let us see. I continued. Actually, we should not keep this breakpoint this much long time, otherwise simply breaks up. Now let us fill once again 100003. Let me fill something, does not matter because we are just keeping some dummy data, so no problem at all. Now let's click save. Okay, now let us see what happened, why we are not getting message box is not defined. Why it is not defined? It is defined, right? We are getting a error saying message box is not defined, but we have defined it. Let's go to the top. Okay, so we have not given the shortcut name within this function, and that's the reason. So employee ID 100003 name. Anyway, so we don't get this. So I'm filling some dummy data because I know this will not get created. Now save. Yeah, so this is how the error message will display, guys. I want to show this message box. So the success message box will get a green color tick mark here with a message called success, and the error message box will have this red color icon with a red color line here. This is the success message box, and warning message box will have a orange color icon with a triangular symbol here, and this line will also be in the orange color. So and there is a confirmation dialog, so that will contain question mark confirm and the confirmation message with a OK and cancel buttons. That also I will show you. Okay, so these are the message boxes we have in SAP UI5. One is this is a error message box, success message box, warning message box, confirmation message box. Okay, fine. Now let's go to the backend and implement this method. Maybe the server session might have expired. Yeah, session got expired. Now we'll write the backend logic so that our newly created record get inserted into the database. So with that, the create operation will be over. So this is my runtime artifacts, DPC extension class. Now let's come down and select employee set underscore create underscore entity. And we need to redefine this method. Now the first question that should come into your mind is how can I retrieve, how can I get the data that you are sending from the front end? So from the front end you are sending the data, fine. Yeah, this is the data that you are sending, but how I can retrieve it into this method? Once I have the data, I can insert into the table, but first of all, how can I get the data? This is not your job. So SAP OData framework has given a nice function, sorry, nice object, and that is IO data provider. So this IO data provider object is having a method called read entry data. Okay, so using that read entry data method, you can read the data that has come from the front end and save that in a structure. So I'm using data ls underscore data, and I need a data type for this. I will use this data type. So type ts underscore employee. You can use it, no problem, because ts underscore employee means structure of employee. Obviously, you are sending only one record. So for one record, to save that one record, you need a structure of employee table. So you can use this data type ts underscore employee. For example, you are sending a table of records, means multiple records. At that time, the ts underscore employee is not suitable. You need tt underscore employee, tt table type. Okay, fine. Now let's use IO data underscore provider hyphen read entry data, and this data will come and sit in a importing parameter called es underscore data, importing es data. Wait, this is taking time. Something is wrong. Sorry guys, the screen got hanged up. I just killed it. Seems the server is down or some internet problem or maybe the power is gone, something is there. Oops. Let us try once again, guys. Employee set underscore create underscore entity. Data, ls data is of type. I can use this and IO underscore data underscore provider hyphen read entry data. Importing into this ES data equals to ls underscore data. Now I will explain what is this statement. So IO data provider, as I told you, this is a standard object, guys. So this IO data provider has a read entry data method. This read entry data method will read the data automatically into ES underscore data, from which we are collecting into our structure ls underscore data. Okay, because of this equal to symbol, so this data will come and sit in ls underscore data. Okay, so now we got the data. Now you can check whether this ls underscore data is empty or it is filled. So if ls underscore data is not initial, not initial means it is not empty. If it is not empty, then you can insert this data into the table. So insert zb70 underscore employees table from this ls underscore data. So indif. So insert zb70 employees from this structure. Now what happens? Whatever the contents are there in the structure, so this get inserted into the table. Fine. So insertion is fine, but we know that according to the OData protocol, into this particular success function, you need to send the response. Request is nothing but the data that you are sending. Response is something, the newly created record should be sent from the server. Now I am in the server. I need to send this record back to the front end. So how can you do that? You need to check for returning data parameter. So this is returning data parameter, which is ER underscore entity. Now copy that. So just fill this ER entity equal to ls underscore data. That's all. Got it, guys? So ls data is nothing but the newly created record. So this newly created record, I need to send back to the front end as a response. To send anything back to the front end as a response, you need to always look for returning data parameter. Now the returning data parameter is ER underscore entity. So I'm filling ER entity with the LS underscore data. Now let's activate this. Now let us see if Mahesh record will get created or not. I'm clicking the save button again, and we will keep a debug point here as well. Set external debug point. Now click save. So debug point got triggered. Now let me execute line by line F6. Now let us check what data we got in LS data. So I double click on this. Now you can clearly see all Mahesh data has filled here. So this is the Mahesh data. So all the data has come here. Some data basically. So I think I didn't change it. Okay. So all the data has come here. Now you can continue the execution. So I'm just going back. Now you can just continue the execution again. Now it is inserting the data into the table. Now you can hit F8. So now in the front end, you got the message, new employee created successfully with a green color tick mark, green color line. So this is how to create an employee. This is end-to-end scenario, creating employee end-to-end scenario. Okay, unfortunately, I did not create Mahesh record. Let me create it now. So 100004, I'm removing this debug point, not required anymore. Set external debug point, and just remove it. Mahesh, designation team lead, skill ABAP, email, phone number. So you can give max length 10 here so that you don't need to um, again worry about how many characters you typed. And date of joining, I have given something. And, this is permanent. Yeah, let's click save button. And you can see new employee created successfully. If you go back, so this employee should be present in the table as well. Now our table is having 4 records, Rahul, Venki and Mahesh. So this is some dummy record. We can edit it in the edit operation. So that's all for today, guys. So today we have seen the create operation front end part as well as the back end part. So in tomorrow's class, we are going to see the edit operation. So how we are going to edit? I will display the employee first, and then I will click this edit button. When I click the edit button, so both these symbols should be gone and only save and cancel buttons should come. Okay, so we'll meet in tomorrow's class with the edit operation, and this form fragment should be replaced with the fragment that is labeled with a input field when I click the edit button. Yeah, see you in tomorrow. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Okay, so fine guys, have a nice day. Bye bye.